Hi everyone, this is May Park. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm sorry it's been a month since I shared a video tutorial. I've been busy with some travels and projects related to my day job. I hope I can share at least one video per week moving forward, so stay tuned. The other day, I asked my blog followers what they would like to see in my future videos. Thank you so much to everyone who shared your suggestions. Many of them were interested in seeing watercoloring techniques, custom background techniques, one-layer cards using small images, alcohol marker coloring techniques, and such. I will plan to cover those topics in my future videos. Some of the people also wanted to see a design process of my card, how I get my inspiration, how to choose the colors, how to arrange the placement of images, and so on. In today's video, as some of you requested, I'm going to show you the card design process from start to finish. I'll try to leave the video clips that show my mistakes and changes so you can understand how my creative mind works. Because of that, this video might be longer than usual, but I promise it's worth watching until the end. Today, I'm going to create this birthday card with the hidden numbers on a floral background using the new stamps and dies from Altenew. To show you the example of my card design process, I didn't plan out my card design in advance. So you'll see me go with the flow and making a few changes along the way. Of course, I'll share the behind the scenes video at the end to show you my messy desk after my project is done. Because I know you love seeing my craft space. Before I start, I'm going to give you a quick overview of Altenew's August 2018 release products. If you don't want to watch, feel free to skip this part to jump on the card making process. Now I'm going to turn on some music and I'll be back soon. Altenew's new stamp set comes with a trifold insert cards, showcasing lots of added inspiration, project ideas, printed layering guides, and other useful information. In this video, I'll be showing you how to use this trifold insert card to get some inspiration with the placement of the image and color choices. In case you are running out of the ideas, I think you can definitely case some of the card design samples included in these insert cards. When it comes to finding inspiration, there are some designers who get an idea from a stamp set itself. In my case, I tended to get design ideas by looking at my old cards. It can be a layout, images, color scheme, techniques, or coloring mediums. Then I choose one or two or even a few elements I'd like to include in my next project. Today I'm choosing the following elements: stamping, layered floral images, custom background, and big, bold, hidden title. I pulled out a few stamps and dies, but I ended up using the Floral Art stamp set and mega number dies only. Then I'm going to choose the ink colors for stamping my images. If you are not sure which colors work together, you can refer to the trifold insert card as it shows 4 card designs with color recommendations. You don't have to pick every single color at this step, but I recommend you choose at least 2 or 3 primary colors, and I'm going to choose blue, orange, and gray as the color scheme of my card. Since this stamp set is brand new, I already seasoned my stamps by stamping them with some colored inks on a piece of A2 size white cardstock to get better stamping impression on my actual card. At this step, you can also test out the placement of your images or ink colors for stamping. The reason I chose the mega number dies is that I already have a friend in my mind who is going to celebrate her birthday next month. So I wanted to use her age as a title of my card. You can also use an initial letter of a recipient's name using one of the mega alphabet dies from Altenew. I already placed my A2 size white panel inside the original Misty stamping tool, and I'm going to arrange my stamps to find a perfect placement for stamping. Once I'm happy with the placement of my stamps, I'm going to close the Misty door to pick up the stamps. Then I'm going to ink up my stamps with Altenew permanent black ink and close the Misty door to stamp the images on the paper. You can also stamp the images with embossing ink and heat emboss them with gold embossing powder if you want to add some elegance and texture to your card. I'm also stamping the same images on post-it notes to create masks later. As you can see here, I stamped my first 2 large images in diagonal. That way, I can stamp the rest of the images in balance. Of course, you can stamp the small images first if you want, but I found that it's easy to balance my entire images when I start working on the large images first. Next, I'm going to stamp the first layer of my big floral image with Altenew Sunkissed ink. I'm keeping the trifold insert card next to me so I can look at the layering guide while stamping. However, the stamps from this floral art stamp set are very easy to line up, so you don't need the layering guide that often. Then I'm stamping the second layer with Altenew Autumn Blaze ink. Here you can heat emboss the second layer with gold embossing powder if you want. Gold heat embossing would add so much texture and interest to your card. After stamping my second image with Altenew Teal Cave ink, I'm going to cut out the images on the post-it notes with my scissors. I recommend you cut slightly inside of the stamping line. That way you can get more perfect stamping while masking the images. Please note that I'm cutting a couple of post-it notes at once, and you'll see why in a bit. I'm going to layer my masks of the stamped images on my panel, covering the images completely. By the way, my post-it note has a full adhesive on the back, so I don't need any glue to place it on my panel. I'm going to pull out my solid floral image from the set and position it partially onto the mask. Then I'm going to stamp it with the Altenew Teal Cave ink. To get a better impression, I'm going to stamp the image one more time with the same ink. I'm still having some missing part with the ink along the border of my mask, so I'm going to stamp it one more time. Since I'm applying ink a few times, there is a chance that I get my ink bleeding through the post-it notes. That was why I used 2 post-it notes for making each mask to prevent my panel from ink smudging. To make sure, I'll also dry my ink with a heat tool in between. Then I'm going to move on to my orange flowers. This time, I'm going to stamp only 2 images around my mask using Sunkissed and Autumn Blaze inks. That way, I can keep the number of my small flowers to 5, which is an odd number. Having an odd number of the images will help you please your eyes as the images work together in balance. To highlight my colorful floral images and fill in the gaps between my flowers, I'm going to stamp some leaves with Altenew Morning Frost and Evening Grey inks. If you want to add some vibrant feeling on your card design, you can stamp the leaves with green inks. However, your card might look busy with all the images in different colors. Once my background stamping is done, I'm going to remove the mask to reveal my entire images. To bring my images together, I'm going to add tiny dots to fill in the gaps between each image using a fine tip of Altenew Artist markers, Morning Frost, and Evening Grey. Of course, you can leave your background clean and white without adding dots if you want. When you choose the marker color for the dot technique, make sure to choose from the colors you use for the stamped images. That way, you can add interest to your background while keeping your eyes not distracting from the focal images. Once my background is done, I'm going to die cut the numbers using the mega number dice out of my stamped panel. I'm using my T-scale ruler to place my number dice in straight and secure the dice on my panel using washi tape so that they don't move while die cutting. I'm going to place my mega number dice and my panel between cutting plates. I also placed a piece of print paper over my panel to prevent from picking up any dirt from my cutting plates. Then I'll be running them through my Spellbinder's Platinum die cut machine. Next, I'm going to die cut additional numbers out of white foam. If you don't have this foam sheet, you can die cut several numbers out of white cardstock and stack them together to make the number thick. Now it's time to assemble my card. I'm going to mount the negative part of my stamped panel on the A2 size side folding white card base using Altenew glue tape. Then I'll be attaching two die cut numbers together and inlay my number die cuts on the opening of my panel using Tonic Nouveau Crystal Glaze. Next, I'm going to open my sentiment. I'm pulling out some of the sentiment banners from the container, which is full of leftovers from my previous projects. Then I place each of them temporarily over my card front to decide types of font, size, and color of my sentiment. I think I like the white embossed sentiment with a simple font on a black cardstock. I'm prepping a piece of black cardstock with anti-static powder bag to remove any moisture, static, and oils. I'm going to pull out the sentiment stamp from Altenew Floral Garden stamp set, ink up the stamp with Altenew embossing ink, and stamp it on the paper. While the ink is still wet, I'm going to sprinkle some Altenew pure white embossing powder over the sentiment and tape the excess powder off my paper. I'm using my dry paintbrush and piercing tool to flick away any stray powder. Then I'll heat set my sentiment with heat tool until the embossing powder is completely melted. I trimmed my sentiment into a thin banner using a craft knife and ruler. I'll be mounting the sentiment banner on the top of Mega number 2 die cut using 3M foam tape to give some dimension. I'm using my T-scale ruler again to place my sentiment banner in straight. To finish off my card, I'm stamping the sentiment inside my card using Altenew Smiles and Hugs stamp set and another sentiment on the back of my card using Altenew Crafty Life stamp set. This is it for today. This video is part of Altenew August 2018 Stamp and Die Release Blog Hub. Make sure to check out my blog for more details and leave a comment on my blog hub post for a chance to win a $30 gift certificate to the Altenew online store. If you enjoyed my video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And I do love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any new videos from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time with another video. Bye bye!